What is good, Tesla family? It's Ray J back with another video. And in this one, I want to break down what's happening with Tesla SPY and a couple of other tickers. I'm going to break down why Tesla's looking more bullish from a technical standpoint, what was said during Tesla's shareholder meeting that's very, very bullish for the share price, at least for the long term, what you should be watching for as time progresses for Tesla stock. But before I break the devil's information, before I get into any more details about Tesla, let me just mention a couple of things. I am personally not a financial planner, so take nothing I say as financial advice. And also, if you guys can, please check out the Webull link, which is down below and in the description. If you sign up for Webull and deposit $500, you are guaranteed 20 free stocks. And the offer ends very soon in just about 6 days from now. Anyways, for Tesla, as you guys can see on the 4-hour time frame, we have a nice inverse head and shoulders like structure. And this is actually a very, very good sign for potential upside, considering the fact that we're getting very, very close to the end of June. And historically, during this period, Tesla does love to run to the upside, especially after what Elon Musk just said. I will talk about that in just a few minutes. But just look at this real quick on the monthly time frame for Tesla. So we are in the middle of June or approaching the middle of June right now. Let me just make it very clear that when we go back on the chart like this, Tesla loves to run in June during the summertime, right? If you don't believe me, look at this. If we go back to the period of 2023, we're on the monthly time frame right now. Tesla was in the 180s for some time in the month of May. And then as we got to June, we started to see Tesla run like crazy, approaching $300 by July. So we got this nice little rally during the summer last year, despite the fact that the market was not in the strongest of places, or even if the market's not in the strongest of places. If we go back to 2022 and the market was bearish, Tesla, it started off down here in June. Right here, you guys can see June. Tesla was right over here in this very, very low period of 223. And then we started to run and run and run as we approached the end of June, going into the 300s. So we saw another rally in 2022 for Tesla starting around the mid to late June period. And then if we go back to 2021, when Tesla really started to run back in May of 2021, Tesla was down here at 205. Then June comes. Since the start of June, Tesla started to rally, and then we started this nice uptrend all the way back up to the 400s. So June is typically when Tesla loves to run. We tend to get nice bounces historically. So that is something that's worth noting, because when you look at the share price right now, we are looking like we have a bullish pattern that is developing with the inverse head and shoulders. And to be very, very frank, I mean, Tesla has been consolidating for quite some time. So we're expecting a big break. Either Tesla's going to collapse and start sinking all the way down to fill this gap into the 140s, or we're about to get a big rally into the 200s. Right now, looking at the fact that we just got this shareholder meeting, we got all this bullish reports from Elon Musk, and we have in less than 2 months, we're going to have another event for the robotaxi. The odds favor upside, in my personal opinion, with all these catalysts coming out. So I'm going to break down exactly why that is. Then I'm going to talk about other things. So for Elon Musk, the shareholders have voted to reinstate Elon Musk's $56 billion pay package from 2018. Remember that this was taken down by the Delaware judges. The shareholders had to vote on this again, and they voted in favor of reinstating this, which is great news for Elon Musk. Musk has said that he is incentivized to stay with Tesla. He's going to keep working for a very, very long time. He's going to keep his shares for at least 5 years. And he's going to do a lot of other things. So he's very happy about this. That's awesome news that Musk is happy. And he, in my opinion, deserved this, considering that he was not being paid for quite some time. On top of this, there's been a lot of other things that the shareholders voted upon. I'm not going to go over everything, but just the main things. They also ended up announcing that they once again supported the incorporation move to Texas for Tesla. So that's good news as well. At least Tesla claimed that this is what they favored, and that is good for them because that's what they wanted. They also voted in favor of the new board proposals. That's including the re-election of Kimball Musk, Elon Musk's brother, and many others. Once again, good news for Tesla. For the board, they actually changed the board director terms to about 1 year instead of 3 years. So that's not as good for many board members, but it is what it is. And then there's also a lot of other things coming out. I'm not going to go over everything, but good stuff, at least from this end. And then we actually had the man, the myth, the legend, Elon Musk start talking, and he was going on an absolute rampage. He was just going insane when talking about AI, and this got investors absolutely hyped what he was talking about. So what did he say? I'm going to try to summarize his main points. He basically mentioned that Tesla is a company that people have to really pay attention to because they have so many different factors at play. They're not just a car company. They're not just an AI company. They're not just a software company. They're everything and more. So the first thing he was talking about is the fact that Tesla's Model Y is becoming increasingly popular. They just reached their 6 millionth car in production, which is absolutely incredible. Deliveries are once again projects it to continue to go up, at least for the long term. And he mentioned, at least later on during his speech, that Tesla will eventually have a fleet of 100 million Teslas, which is absolutely insane, absolutely incredible. Then he started talking about the robo taxi. He started mentioning that people will be able to once again, if they stay home, if they're on vacation or something, they could just let their robo taxi go around, and they can make money from it passively, which will help kind of like pay off, their own leases. They can help them pay off things and even make income off of it. So he said that's going to be a multi-trillion-dollar industry for Tesla. He also started talking about the Optimus robot. The Optimus robot is going to be very bullish in Elon Musk's eyes because he said that very soon, within a year, Tesla could be looking at over 1,000 of the Optimus bots performing tasks in the company itself at the Gigafactory. He mentioned that there's going to be a lot more of these robots than humans, in his opinion, by maybe twofold or even threefold. And on top of that, he says that if Tesla just has a 10% market share of that, it's going to be absolutely massive for them. He also started to quote Kathy Wood why he agrees with her projections. He thinks that he's basically saying that Tesla could go to easily 2,600 a share by 2029, or even much higher than that, because Kathy Wood isn't even accounting for every single factor, right? She's mainly just talking about the robotaxi. He's mentioning that once again, Tesla's insane upside to be the most valuable company on the planet. He said that Tesla could even be worth, many of the top companies combined, and he's very bullish long term. He's very, very, very bullish. He can't wait to see what the future holds. He's mentioned that Tesla's going to continue to ramp up, and then they also showed a little model that showed their different Teslas, and some of them were covered with a sheet, which is implying that Tesla has new models coming out. So he's telling us there are new models coming out. FSD is becoming a lot more advanced. They're getting much better at developing things, and there's going to be less interferences by users because the FSD is going to become a lot more effective, and it's going to require less of that. He mentioned that Optimus is going to be bullish, very, very awesome for the company. It's going to generate trillions of dollars in revenue for Tesla. It's going to be absolutely massive. I can't wait to see what else Tesla ends up announcing from that. And he's saying Elon Musk literally said trillions of dollars in revenue will be made from Optimus moving forward. It's going to be helping. It's going to help Tesla become a multi-trillion-dollar company as a whole. And the market cap of Tesla could not just reach like 5 trillion, like what Kathy Wood is saying, but the tens of trillions, according to Elon Musk. So listen, guys, I know that Elon Musk is known for being a very, very big optimist, but let me make it very clear that, let's just say, only half of what he's saying is true, or even like a third of it. Okay, let's just say they have is robotaxi and their cars. Let's just say that's all it is. Tesla will still run, in my opinion, to Kathy Wood's targets to over 2,000 share within the next couple of years. It could still do that. So I'm just trying to make it very clear that Tesla has 7, 8 major bullish catalysts for the next few years. Right, Optimus, right? The new gigafactories are coming. They're all bullish, right? New announcements about their new models, their sales and deliveries, revenue growth, all these different things. The robotaxi, FSD, a bunch of different things. With all these AI developments and what every single one of these bots are going to be capable of doing, there's so many different catalysts. If we just account for two of them, if we're just talking about like Optimus and Tesla sales, or just Tesla sales and robotaxi, it is still bullish. It's super, super bullish for me. And that's the reason why I'm very excited about Tesla's future. I'm trying to like not really fall for the trap of just saying everything Elon Musk is saying in terms of timeframes is true. He is correct in my opinion about the future. It's just that his timeframes may not always be right. But I just want to say, guys, the main point is it's bullish. It's very, very bullish for the long term. I think investors must be very excited right now. So this could be very, very bullish for Tesla. We could even see the start of a rally thanks to all of this. So as far as Tesla goes, two possibilities. We could actually dip a little bit to fill this gap. We do have this big gap to fill around 178, and then we should bounce. If we do come down to fill this gap and then bounce, we could be looking for another rally back up to the, not just the 90s, but the 200s, as we have a nice inverse head and shoulders. I think Tesla will eventually start to push up for the next few months if the bullish case plays out. If you're bearish, you want to see Tesla first off fill the gap down here all the way down to 178 and then start dipping all the way down. We have to lose 168. If we lose 168, we're back to bearish. Tesla's in the 180s right now, so it's favoring the upside more, and we're well above our previous levels. So Tesla's holding up well. We have bullish catalysts. Musk was just screaming AI, AI, AI. You guys know how that affects stocks like Nvda and Microsoft. They love to run. So I think investors are getting ready to start piling into Tesla, and this could be the start of a big rally, most likely. All right, so I'm going to talk now about the overall market just very quickly, then start talking about the rest of the charts. Just to be very, very frank with everyone, this morning we got the PPI data report, month over month core and all items PPI for year over year and month over month, everything was below expectations. That's why the market kind of popped and then dropped in the morning. It did dip a bit before getting some buyers back up at the very end of the day. And then for tomorrow, 30 minutes after the market opens at 10 o'clock a.m. Eastern Standard Time, we have the Michigan Consumer Sentiment Report, the 5-year inflationary expectations. So expect some volatility 30 minutes after the market opens. Then we have some Fed speakers after that. For now, with PPI kind of declining, this is actually kind of like following the trend with CPI, leading CPI down. So this is actually a little bit more optimistic for the markets. Not that I really trust all this data entirely. I'm just trying to make it very clear that's what we're kind of seeing. The market is currently a little bit more fearful in terms of sentiment, despite the fact that greed is making up momentum because we're still seeing a lot of buyers defending as the market's near all-time highs. The puts and call option positioning overall is still at extreme greed as we're seeing lots of puts being closed. This is the overall indicator, guys. It's not just for SPY. I'm just talking about this differently. And then we also have market volatility kind of tipping a bit towards the 12 area. This is showing signs that the VIX has weakness and the market is still remaining quite strong. For a few more things, tomorrow, please know that we have about over 300,000 calls expiring and over 1.2 million puts expiring. If we're about to see a short squeeze, SPY is going to break past 544 and keep going. If we fail to do so, basically we're just going to be range bound between 540 and 544. And if we lose 540, if we end up losing that support, I'll be looking for the gap fill at 537. We need to see a big hold below that. So I'll talk about this in just a few minutes, despite the fact that right now we have a bunch of puts. Tesla saw 119 million in volume. I'm expecting high volume tomorrow and lots of buyers to step in. And the short volume is actually still only in the 50s. So Tesla's showing some life. The price price ratio is kind of flat right now. We're also starting to see a big shift in daily seasonality. So we'll see what happens for Friday. They're historically not the strongest of days for Tesla because of low volume, but this is a big exception because volume will go up. Look for volatility by 10 o'clock a.m., around noon, and then also around 3 o'clock p.m. Can't wait to see what the buyers do. June is historically a strong month, so we will see if this plays out. All right, so that is it for all the data. Let's just focus on the charts now, and I'm going to try to be kind of quick. I know I'm kind of running short on time since I had so much to talk about. So, anyways, let's talk about what's happening with Tesla. Like I said yesterday, we're either going to dip a little bit, come back down to 178 to fill the gap and get a big bounce to start pushing all the way up to about 188, if not 190, or we could even just break out from here if the market gets a bullish reaction after Elon Musk. But these are the levels to watch for on Tesla. For Tesla, make sure you watch 185 as key resistance and then 188 to 190. Watch support at 182. If we lose that, we'll be looking for 180 as support and 178 for the gap fill. Could dip to fill the gap and then bounce, or even just bounce from here. But there's going to be a lot of volume and a lot of buyers likely stepping in after everything Elon Musk said. So look and see if Tesla outperforms the markets and see when we get our bounce. I think that's the most likely possibility. For SPY, let me just call out that SPY is very range bound. And my analysis is very simple on SPY, okay? It's actually very simple to understand this. If we break 544, we're bullish. SPY is going to be breaking out to 545, then new all-time highs. If we're bearish, you want to see SPY basically lose 540. Okay, we have to close on the 4-hour below that, so we have to hold above 540 for a long period of time or for a few hours, and then we're going to be looking for a gap fill of 537. That's the more bearish case. And then right now, what SPY is actually doing is we're just kind of range bound between 540 and 544. We've been stuck here for over a day. So we'll be watching this range on SPY. I think tomorrow we're going to kind of pop and then drop and stay range bound. But whether we break to the upside or downside depends on different factors. There is a risk of downside looking at the gap below. SPY has a gap on the daily time frame though. So just be a little bit careful with that. And just remember this, we have this big gap to fill at 537, excuse me, if we lose 540. So I'll be watching for that very carefully. The QQQ also has a gap all the way down there around its around here around the 472 area, 474 area, excuse me. And if we lose 472, I'll be looking for another gap fill around 468. There is a risk of that getting filled, but there's no sign of the QQQ rejecting it, so give it some time. So we will wait and see. Right. So, anyways, looking at Nvda, it's still looking bullish on the daily time frame, especially on the 4-hour. But just know two things. If we lose 127, we're bearish. We'll come down to fill the gap at 125. If we break out higher, look at 130 as resistance. My gut tells me it's going to hit 130, go a little bit higher, but resistance is going to get tougher at the 130s. So I think it might get the low 130s for a little bit of a push before it starts to trade sideways around 130 is the most likely possibility. For Bitcoin, Bitcoin's actually coming down a bit. It's going to try to rebound a bit towards this area. We have support at 66,250. We have resistance around 67,000. My gut tells me it's going to try to rebound to 67,000, just kind of trade sideways from here. So look for a little pop in Bitcoin before we see some sideways price action. For the QQQ again, just like SPY, we have two levels. So I actually marked them yellow. So look at the two yellow lines, guys. That's our range on the QQQ. If we lose 475, look for a dip tomorrow. We could be dipping down to fill some gaps. We could be coming down to 472. If we break past 478, we're more bullish. We could be looking for a bigger push. Right now, we're kind of range bound, so we'll give this some time just to see how things go. But I just want to make it very clear that for now, give it some time. It could pop a little bit. I do see potential for a little pop before we see another rejection, because the closer we get to 480 is tough. So I think we're going to see range bound price action, a little pop and drop, and some sideways price action. For Apple, Apple's just like the QQQ, kind of trading sideways. We have 215 as resistance and 212.5 as support. If we lose 212.5, look for 210 then 207. I'll be watching that as well very carefully. Now, guys, just to be very clear, I am kind of late at recording this because I was watching the shareholder meeting and I'm kind of late on time. So I'm going to do a very big speed run for the rest of the tickers. So please bear with me. Palantir, if we're bullish, you want to see it break 23.3. If that breaks, we're going to be going up higher. If we end up losing supports right here at 23, we'll be looking for a dip down to 22.8. The technicals do favor downside, so 22.8 looks more favorable. The Supermicro got a bullish piece of news. We are looking more bullish right now. Watch 882 as resistance. If it breaks this, we're going up to 900. Even if we do go a little higher, which I think is more probable, watch and see resistance around 900. We could reject there. So expect some more upside for Supermicro before we potentially reject. For Rivian, we're looking a little bit more bearish. I'll be looking at resistance around 1130 and support at 10.8. The odds favor is dipping to about 10.8 before trying to bounce, so watch for that. SoFi is going to dip to 6.7 tomorrow, most likely. If we bounce off that, we're going to be coming back up to about 6.9. If we lose 6.7, we're going to be dipping down to 6.5. So look for a test of 6.7 for tomorrow on Supermicro. For the IWM Russell 2000, okay? We have resistance around 202, and we have support at 200. If we lose 200, watch 198. If we break 202, we're bullish. As of right now, we're completely indecisive, so give it some time. For AMD, we're trading sideways right now. I do want to note that the structure is a little bit more bearish on AMD. If we lose 158, that's confirmation of a move down to 155, but there's no confirmation yet, so we're just kind of trading sideways. So I'm going to give this some time before anything else. For ARM, I would say that we have some tough resistance around 160. We're kind of trading sideways between 152 and 160, so it might do the same thing again. Look for a dip to 152, then a bounce and just some sideways price action. If we lose 152, we're going to be dipping down to 147, so watch for confirmation. For Coinbase, we're also trading kind of sideways, but there is a risk of us kind of dipping to 243. So I see 243 coming tomorrow, but if we lose that, we're going to be dipping even lower down to about 236. If we hold this, we're going to rebound back up towards about 250. So watch for a test of 243. Let's watch to see if we bounce or not. That's going to be pivotal for how we end up moving. Amazon has 183 points. Let me just double check this. 183.73. If we hold above that, look for 185 to be tested. If we fail to hold above that level, we're going to be dipping down to 181.5 to 182. It looks to me like it's going to dip a little bit lower before it tries to bounce, so watch for that as the most likely possibility. Meta is getting tighter and tighter and tighter as it's stuck within this range. There is a risk of this dipping lower, so look for a test of about 501 tomorrow and see if we get a bounce or not. But I do see a little downside coming. Microsoft, it's tipping a bit. It has a range between 438 and about 442. I think 438 is going to be tested before we try to rebound, but then there's going to be a risk of us dipping even lower if we lose that support all the way down to 435. So look for some sideways price action, maybe a dip. Google's also testing key support currently around 176. If we bounce off this, look for 177. If we lose this, we're dipping all the way down to 175. This looks a little bit weak, but we have to watch for confirmation just to see. GameStop is trading sideways. We have to hold 30 to be bullish. We haven't done that yet, so there's no sign of it turning bullish yet. AMC, so GameStop is actually just still kind of trading sideways in this range right here between 30 and 25. AMC is also trading sideways between 5.5 and 5 flat. We need to break 5.5 to turn bullish. I see potential in AMC and GameStop to run, but there's no sign of them breaking out yet. There is potential though. DJT might actually try to rebound a bit. We could be looking for a test of 42 again. The VIX is still kind of down right now. We're waiting to see if this gets a bounce number at some key support around 12, so give it some time. The 10-year treasury yield is dipping thanks to Jerome Powell, so it might dip more, which is actually a little bit more bullish for the markets. And then the dollar is actually trying to break out. So this could actually be bearish for the markets. But we're going to be testing this resistance around 105.45. So we'll see if that breaks or not. So wait and see as we go a little higher in the dollar. We'll see how this affects the markets. With that being said, guys, Tesla has upside potential. We'll watch to see if we get an initial drop tomorrow first before we try to bounce. But overall, guys, as long as we don't lose 168, Tesla will favor the bulls. And that is looking more probable, at least for this month and moving forward. All right. So with that being said, guys, thank you all so much for listening. Have an absolutely incredible rest of the day. Once again, I do apologize for being very late today. I was waiting for the meeting to finish. But with that being done, I will see you guys tomorrow morning before the market opens. Until then, take care. Tesla to the moon because the long term is very bright. And peace out.